Over the past couple of years, or at least, it's mostly known now that the Nintendo Switch is very underpowered compared to the current competition and even the previous gen. And according to Nintendo, apparently the console is entering its 8th year this year, and with no definitive revision in sight at the moment. Sure, there's the Switch Lite and the Switch OLED, but those versions of the Switch are like the same thing, and such still suffer from the same issues. So let's see what we can do to potentially get a bit of extra power out of the Switch with some overclocking on some games that it can sometimes have a bit of trouble with. In this video, we'll be testing out 3 games with this Switch. Those being Fortnite, Fall Guys, and Disney Speedstorm, and seeing if overclocking makes a difference in performance for these games. Now, before we jump straight into the video, I have to state a few things before we begin. If you plan on doing this at home, please note the following disclaimer. If you don't feel confident with modding your Switch, or if you feel you don't know what you're doing, overclocking may not be for you. Also keep in mind that if you do run this online, you do risk getting your Nintendo account or your Nintendo Switch banned. There hasn't been a reported incident of someone being banned for overclocking yet, but it could happen at any time. This has been done in a controlled environment and is solely for educational and research purposes only. Another note, that this has been done on a V1, otherwise known as an Arista model Switch. If you're doing this on a V2, or known as a Moriko model Switch, you'll be able to run faster clocks on your GPU, so depending on your Switch in the game you're playing, your mileage may vary. One more thing is that I've intentionally left out any Nintendo games in this video. Reasons being that Nintendo is relatively really good with their game optimization, sometimes, and Nintendo being very stingy with their games being used in modded Switch videos. Alright, enough yapping, let's get started with Fortnite. Fortnite needs no introduction, but its port on the Nintendo Switch has always had a reputation for running pretty poorly. This game does have a frame rate cap of 30 FPS, and in the lobby the game does an okay job sticking to 30 frames. Although there are times where the lobby can drop frames. One example is the social menu, which drops the FPS to 24 no matter what you're doing for some reason. Past that, let's get into a solo game. Oh, and if it isn't obvious already, we're using an FPS meter at the top left side of the screen. This will tell us the game's frame rate and when the game is lagging. As we load into the game, we see the game is struggling to keep up to 30 frames and even drops into the mid-10s when loading in assets. But as we get into the battle bus, the frame rate becomes stable again. This is also mostly the same as we drop down into the map. Now I'm going to stop talking for a while here and let some of these clips play out. As you saw from those clips, the game did a decent job sticking to the 30 FPS cap, but it did slow down when things got fast or there was a lot that had to be loaded in. Now, let's turn on the overclocks plus an additional plugin that removes the 30 FPS frame cap. And already in the lobby you can see a difference, with some parts easily hitting 60 frames, and the social menu no longer causes lag. Now, let's get into another match and see how that goes. And as you can see, just sitting in the battle bus, our FPS has increased by a fair bit, and sometimes hitting 60 FPS if I look up at the sky here. And as we're dropping, the result is mostly the same as the last one, but once we're on the ground, we have an extra 5 to 15 frames per second, which is a lot better of a result we had last time. Once again, I'll just let these clips play here. Not only did the game feel more fluid from the overclocking and a higher frame rate cap, if you use gyro controls in the game, which is what I was using, those controls feel much more fluid and smoother as well. Now, let's tackle Fall Guys. This game is less demanding on the Switch and usually can keep a solid frame rate on its own. Without overclocks or FPS unlocker, this game once again has a 30 FPS cap. And as you can see in the menus here, the game does a good job staying at that frame rate. Now let's jump into a match and see what we get. This isn't the most intensive map in the game, but the game is keeping a rock solid 30 FPS seemingly throughout. Now shut up and let some of these clips play again. Now, let's turn the overclocks on and uncap the frame rate. As we can see in the menu alone, the game has no trouble keeping a rock solid 60 FPS frame rate here, which actually kinda surprised me. Now, let's get into a game and we'll see what it's like there. And as you saw from those clips, the game ran better and it controlled smoother too. Now let's dive into our last game, Disney Speedstorm. This one was a weird one to benchmark since it appears that Gameloft has made some optimizations to the game which mostly eliminated some of the lag that used to happen, but I was still able to get some results for this video. This game has a 60 FPS cap in the menu which it cannot reach, but when you're in a race the cap changes to 30 frames per second. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the FPS unlocker to work with this game. So as you can see in the menu, the game averages around 35 to 40 frames per second in the menus, and for this one I've picked one of the Atlantica tracks, since those tracks in particular can lag the game on the Switch, so I'll just let this race play out. And here we are in the menu again, this time with the clocks applied, and as you can see our FPS has increased a little bit here. From 35 to 40 frames from earlier to now between 42 and 46. Now, let's do that same race again, but this time due to how the game is, FPS unlocker doesn't work. So we should instead see a more stable 30 frames per second. And I'll just let this race play out.
Crazy! Watch this! Okay. But what can I say? I'm a natural.
So yeah, not as dramatic of a change as the last two, but the 30 FPS from what I've seen was more consistent and it felt a little bit nicer to control as well. Now you might be asking, is there a way to get more FPS even though we've done this? And the answer is actually shockingly yes. By undocking the switch and playing in handheld mode while connected to the official charger, not only you have access to the higher clocks, you also have the added benefit of running games at a lower resolution. And I thought I'd test Fortnite with this again like this because overclocking on that game makes the most significant difference. I am aware that there is a way to force the switch into this state while docked, but I'm not sure how to get this to work. And my setup for camera recording in 60 FPS is not the best, so apologies in advance for the guerrilla videography. Alright, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you might have learned something new. I actually put a little bit of work into this video and I really enjoyed making it, so I really hope you enjoyed watching it. So yeah, I've got ideas for more videos like this. If you want a follow-up to this video with games that you want featured, comment down below and I might put it into a part 2. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.